Now, welcome back to our show. Our next guest has so much energy and is such an interesting person, especially with all of the work that he's doing around science and how to stay motivated. I've got Graham Lutz joining me today. Graham, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am so good. You are such an interesting person. I was digging around on LinkedIn and your website, and tell me a bit about you and how did you get started?
Sure. Maybe that's
Big
a long
question,
story.
I know.
Yeah. Let's see. So I got a neuroscience degree years ago and have just always been interested in the brain and how it works and the kind of mechanisms that are going on under there that describe and make sense of how we interact with the world. I'm actually pursuing a master's right now at Harvard in psychology to answer some of those kinds of questions. So I mean, that's, from an education standpoint, that's how I got there. But it's just always been, whether I'm in school or not, my wife makes fun of me for spending Friday nights reading scientific papers that I find especially interesting.
I love the spirit of perpetual learning. Now, speaking of, you are a published author, so you're reading other people's, but then you're talking about your findings and your research. So you have a book coming out. Tell me all about that.
I do. So the book explores the willingness to be wrong and the skills of being wrong well. The idea here is that our brains evolved for this world that we don't live in now. Right? The current reality that we have is as foreign to the way our brains evolved as, say, TikTok, for instance, would be to a Neanderthal. And so we have all of these neural mechanisms that were really valuable in our evolutionary past that cause us big problems today. Things like filtering out information that doesn't fit with current beliefs, and things like attributing agency to threats that, maybe in this day and age really aren't a threat to our life. It's just a dude who cut you off in traffic, right? So there's a set of skills that I have kind of put together and talk about throughout the book, both kind of from myself and from published research and scientists over the past number of decades. And I think those skills are really important for thriving in kind of our current complex world.
And so I think that this is so interesting. I love the concept of how to fail well. And I always say fail fast because you learn from it and you learn how to adapt and to change. So love that. I cannot wait to hear all about the book as it's released next spring. But speaking of, you were also, outside of an author, you're also a public speaker and very evident by this interview here. But tell me, you've got a TED Talk coming up. So talk to us about that.
I have it's a TEDx talk outside of Boston on November 1st. So in fact, just this morning, I was out on a walk saying it a number of times as I walked for 30 minutes, but it's going to be on the same topic. And it's been a challenge to condense, a book's worth of ideas into about 10 minutes. But really excited to get to get that talk going and to get that done. Thrilled for the opportunity. I really am just so excited for the opportunity mostly.
So talk to me about the process. So you took this book and you turned it into a speech. So how do you condense it into a shorter speech and a whole book? I imagine and I envisioned, when you're writing a book report when you're a kid, you're doing the outline and then you're writing more about that. So talk to me about your process and how you do that.
Yeah. So honestly, step one, I just wrote the speech to be, everything that I want to cover. And it was 90 minutes to begin with, which obviously too long. And so then I was able to, from there, pick out, okay, this is the one. If I could make 1 point, it's this one. If I could make 2 points, it's this one and this one. Right. And then started from that perspective and said, okay, if I could just do that, I wrote that and it was, say, 18 minutes. It's like, okay, so then here's a piece I can cut. Here's a piece I can cut. And then it was a process of taking these points that I make and seeing if I can do it in 4 less words here And can I cut 10 words from this section here? And just doing that over and over. And it's been a process to get to the point where I feel like I've got 10 minutes that says everything I want to say and still makes sense.
Well, it sounds like there's a part 2 coming after you release your book. I can't wait to hear all about that. Now, talk to me about your overall purpose and your mission, especially as you have an LLC. What is your goal, and what is the impact that you hope to make on people?
Thank you for the question. I love this question because ultimately the way that I am approaching all of this is with this focus on helping people understand the way their brains work so that they can overcome limiting beliefs. They can be kinder to themselves, right? They can increase motivation. They can increase consistency. Like, everybody struggles with something different, but all of our struggles come down to neurochemistry. And so if we can understand how these things work together and how they affect our lives, that is going to enable us to pinpoint activities or strategies that we need to do that are going to allow us to, reach the big goals, have the big impact, do something significant. And so I really love a quote by Howard Thurman. I probably won't say it quite right, but it's something along the lines of, don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. And so my mission is helping people come alive and then helping them get over whatever hurdles are going to keep them from achieving whatever that vision is.
I love that. I love the idea of helping people come alive. I think all too often we're all just kind of cycling through, you get up in the morning, you go to work, you come home, you make dinner, repeat. And I love what you're doing. I think that's such an excellent mission. Now, you have a big social media presence on TikTok. Tell us all about that and how fun the journey has been. What kind of information do you share with your followers?
Yeah, so TikTok has been interesting. It's slightly different than what we're kind of talking about here. It started a little bit by accident. I got COVID earlier this year and was sitting around without a lot to do and stitched a video with just a little tidbit of kind of historical information. And all of a sudden, it had 25,000 views really quick and people asking for more. And so then I did another and I did another. And next thing I know, I've got a video out there with 5.5 million views, specifically about syphilis eating the noses off of rich people in 18th century England. So all of these little kind of tidbits, historical, interesting things, just stuff that I've collected over the years. And honestly, it's been really nice to see people who are interested in it, because most of my life has been saying those things to my kids at the dinner table and being met with eye rolls or, oh, here goes dad again.
I love that. And I think it's so fun that you're giving information that we wouldn't find in traditional history books. So thank you for sharing that on your socials, and love all of the work that you're doing. Now, Graham, where can we go for more information to follow your journey, learn about your book release, watch your TEDx talk? Tell me all of the details.
Sure. So grahamlutz.com is the website. You can sign up for a newsletter. That is where you're definitely going to get information about kind of anything upcoming. Obviously, you can find me on TikTok, and LinkedIn is another place that I am pretty active. Any of those sources, I'll be talking about my book. I'll be talking about my TED Talk, sharing it everywhere I can as soon as I have the video for it. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, Graham, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy this beautiful Thursday morning. We'll chat with you soon.
Thanks so much. See ya.